What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more David Bowie, and we're back for the final tune on the selected or one of the variant versions of his 1967 self-titled album. Once again, big thank you to Judith. And the final track is called Please Mr. Gravedigger. On the surface, it makes me think of that Marvelettes Motown tune, Please Mr. Postman, which I've always found very interesting lyrically because even though it's about her lover who's far away, she ends up developing this surrogate or vicarious relationship with the postman, and her expectations and attitude toward the postman are informed by what she thinks he should be doing in terms of bringing her letters from her actual lover. Now, a gravedigger is a very different occupation than a postman, and given that the singer in this case is male, I wonder whether it will be framed by a narrator who is in fact a man. But either way, I do feel like it's possible that there might be three parties involved, because a gravedigger is digging graves for someone who has passed away. And so maybe there's an appeal not to dig a grave for someone who is important to the narrator. Maybe the gravedigger could, of course, be the actual person of interest to the narrator, but it seems set up to involve more than just the speaker and the gravedigger themselves. I'll see what I can catch on a first listen. This is David Bowie. The track is Please Mr. Gravedigger, and it's the final track, at least on this version, of his 1967 self-titled album. Naturally.
There's a little churchyard just along the way. Used to be Lambeth's finest array of tombstones, epitaphs, wreaths, flowers, all that jazz, till the war came along and someone dropped a bomb on the lot. And in this little yard there's a little old man with a little shovel in his little bitty hand. He seems to spend all his days puffing fags and digging graves. He hates the Reverend Vicar and he lives all alone in his home. Excuse me. Please, Mr. Gravedigger, don't feel ashamed as you dig little holes for the dead and the maimed. Please, Mr. Gravedigger, I couldn't care if you found a golden bucket full of some girl's hair and you put it in your bucket. Pour it down. A mother doesn't know that your sentimental joy, she thinks it's down below with the rest of her toys. A ma wouldn't understand, so I won't tell. So keep your golden locket all safely hid away in your pocket. Yes, Mr. GD, you see me every day, standing in the same spot by a certain grave. Mary Ann was only 10, full of life and oh so gay, and I was the wicked man who took her life away. Very selfish. Oh God. No, Mr. GD, you won't tell. And just to make sure that you keep it to yourself, I've started digging holes, my friend, and this one here's for you. Look it up. It's probably this one. Dog should be a little bit.
Crazy, hilarious, and wicked all at the same time. So I meant to say in the opening, I don't think I actually did, but the way in which a lot of songs on this album have been funny and certainly almost theatrical, like a narrative that's very visual and, you know, different characters playing parts, and there is that to this one too. But what I meant to annotate that observation with is that several of the songs have still made social and cultural, historical, or even political commentary at the same time as they're a bit funny and as they have very vivid or even flamboyant characters. Here we get a bit of that, but in a more macabre sense, which I suppose is not surprising given the nature of grave digging. But okay, so I made a joke early on that, like, wow, it feels like this could be the beginning of a Monty Python sketch. And I feel like there's a bit of that there, in that there's definitely comedy along the way. And, the idea that he's making these aside comments are like, wow, it's really coming down, is it? No, by the way, achoo, like, he's sneezing, which I do like to point out that weather itself cannot make you sick, but it can affect the efficacy of your immune system and thus make you more predisposed to get sick from germs that may be around. Nevertheless, that technical point aside, there are definitely moments where it's a bit funny and there's a bit of a like, oh right, he's in this real world, which it's not even fully musical, right? Like there's singing, which is already a bit of like that speak singing style, but there's not really music per se, but we definitely get atmosphere. There's clearly rain and thunder, and you can picture the gray skies. And then still it's serious in that he seems to be saying, well, like, because it's wartime, you're just digging graves all the time, and you're, don't be ashamed about what you're doing, because I saw you put a little locket of hair in your pocket from this young victim for a small grave that you're digging. And so at that moment it feels like, like speaking to the way that these bombs fall indiscriminately, and even a reference to a bomb falling on a graveyard. So all these carefully preserved remains and all the stories and life history that is implied by those headstones and those tombstones, that could all be wiped away in wartime. So it's very heavy, it's very serious. But then, oh wait, the idea of a gravedigger taking a liberty and keeping a keepsake from someone he's not related to, and maybe the mother wouldn't approve, but don't worry, gravedigger, I'm not going to say anything about it. I saw you do that, but, I'm going to keep our little secret. But then it takes an even darker turn, and he's saying, and in fact, that girl, I'm the one who ended her life, but you won't tell, right? Because I'm not going to tell on you, but you know what? To make sure that you keep quiet about it, I'm going to start digging some graves, and this one that I'm digging right now is for you. And suddenly it's like, whoa, wait, the narrator's actually a murderer, maybe a multiple murderer, and one who has intent to murder again. And it's all done with a bit of cheeky comedy along the way, but also, again, like a bit of a historical reference to what cemeteries are in wartime and the way that even young folk get killed as collateral damage of these fights between nations and governments and so on. So it's like profound, amusing, and macabre all at the same time, and it's not even fully a song in the fullest sense, meaning, again, there's no guitars, there's no drums, even though there is a bit of singing. So what a crazy way to end a crazy album, and I really enjoy this. Again, if you tweaked it a little bit and emphasized the comedy more, it's a perfect Monty Python sketch. You can hear Cleese or Palin doing this. But here it comes across as a bit more musical, or at least a song, and in a way that leaves you with this like, oh damn, like that took an unexpected twist and a bit of a dark one. So really crazy. Looking forward to the next album, which I believe is also self-titled. As I said, thank you to Judith for providing these, and thank you for the patience. And I know Yvonne and some others, and Mark has commented on a number of these so far. But yes, enjoying the David Bowie series, and this was an especially intriguing entry in that list. So yeah, looking forward to the next album. Let me know what you think of this. I will see you next time. Peace.